You're sitting there. The music is too loud, the lighting is ambient, which is code for expensive, and the bill has just landed on the table. Usually, this is the moment your stomach drops. You do the mental math, you check your banking app under the table, praying the pending charges haven't hit yet. You smile tightly, pull out the credit card, and silently agree to pay for this dinner plus 24% interest for the next 6 months. But not tonight. Tonight, you look your friends in the eye. You don't reach for your wallet. You don't make up an excuse about forgetting your card or saving for a trip. You just say it. I'm not splitting that. I got the side salad and water. I'm loud budgeting right now. It feels incredible, doesn't it? It's a rebellion. You've rejected quiet luxury, which is just rich people looking bored in beige cashmere, for loud budgeting. You are vocal. You are proud. You are saving money fast. You hit your first $1,000, then $5,000. You feel like you've hacked the matrix. But here is the catch. Loud budgeting feels like a revolution, but usually it's just a crash diet for your wallet. You hit the number, you feel the high, and then the world, and your own brain, conspires to take it all back. Because the second you stop shouting about your budget, the silence gets expensive. Here's the problem with extreme frugality and trends like no-spend months. They operate on adrenaline. It's a roller coaster. You are white-knuckling your way through the month, fueled by the social media dopamine of de-influencing and showing off your $5 meal prep. You aren't building a financial foundation, you're holding your breath. And what happens when you hold your breath for too long? Eventually, you gasp. And in finance, that gasp looks like revenge spending. We see this constantly. You grind to hit a savings goal, say an emergency fund of $10,000. You feel safe, but statistics show that for most people, that safety is a mirage. According to recent economic data, a huge percentage of people who build emergency funds deplete them within 12 months. And they don't deplete them because of an emergency. They deplete them because of lifestyle leakage. The system is designed to reclaim your money. When you're loud budgeting, you are fighting a war against an entire economy purely designed to extract value from you. The marketing algorithms, the peer pressure, the inflation that eats your cash if it just sits there. You think you're winning because you said no to a latte, but while you were focusing on the latte, the system changed the rules on your rent, your insurance, and your grocery bill. You aren't broken for finding this hard. The game is rigged so that saving feels like a punishment and spending feels like relief. And nobody can endure punishment forever. I'm a guy on the internet, not a financial advisor. This is for education and entertainment. If you need to make big moves with your life savings, go hire a qualified professional who has a fiduciary duty to not ruin your life. Let's break down why loud budgeting usually fails after the initial viral success. We have to look at the transition between Phase 1 and Phase 2. Phase 1 is the grind. This is you posting the "What I Eat on $5 a Day" video. It's exciting. You have a common enemy, inflation. You have a community. You get public accountability. Your dopamine comes from saving. But then you hit the number. Maybe you saved $5,000. Now you enter Phase 2. The urgency is gone. The adrenaline fades. This is where the psychological trap of moral licensing kicks in. Because you suffered through eating unseasoned lentils for a month, your brain convinces you that you deserve a reward. You buy the shoes, you book the trip. You justify it because I have the savings now. But it's not just your brain, it's the external system. When you're broke, banks hate you. When you're loud budgeting and actually have a balance, suddenly you're a prime target. The algorithm notices you have liquidity. You start seeing ads for high-status items. Your credit score goes up, so you get offers for higher limit cards. The system hates idle money. It wants that money moving. If you're quiet luxury, you spend to look rich. If you're loud budgeting, you save to be rich. But the second you stop being loud, the second you relax, the system pushes you back toward the middle. It pushes you back to being a consumer. The trap is thinking hitting the number is the finish line. It's not. It's just the point where the game gets harder, because now you have something to lose. Let's look at the math, because numbers don't have feelings. Let's say you loud budget your way to $10,000. If you leave that in a standard checking account because you're scared to invest, inflation, even at a normal 3%, is eating $300 of purchasing power every year. If inflation spikes like it did recently, that money is rotting faster than it grows. But here's the real data point that hurts. Dalbar's quantitative analysis of investor behavior consistently shows that the average investor performs worse than the market. Why? Because of behavior. We buy when we feel rich, in phase 2, and sell when we feel panic. If you take that $10,000 you saved by screaming at your friends you're broke, and you actually invest it in a boring, low-cost index fund, and you never touch it, the math says that money could double in roughly 7 to 10 years. $10,000 saved at age 25 could be over $150,000 by retirement without adding another penny. That is the power of the capital you are saving. But if you loud budget for 3 months, save $3,000, and then blow $1,500 on a congratulations vacation, you haven't just spent $1,500. You've killed the $45,000 that money would have become. That is the math they don't teach you in the viral no-spend shorts. Let's look at 2 people who jumped on the loud budgeting trend. Meet Alex. Alex treats loud budgeting like a crash diet. For 90 days, Alex is a monk. No eating out, no drinking, de-influencing every product on TikTok. Alex saves $6,000. It feels amazing. But then Alex gets invited to a wedding. I have the money, Alex thinks. Alex goes. Then Alex needs an outfit. Then Alex thinks, I've been so good I can upgrade my car. Within 6 months, the $6,000 is gone. Alex feels guilty, so Alex starts another no-spend month. The cycle repeats. Alex is running on a hamster wheel, sweating but never moving forward. Now meet Jordan. Jordan also does loud budgeting. Jordan saves the same $6,000, but Jordan understands the catch. Jordan knows that willpower is a limited resource. So the day Jordan hits the goal, Jordan takes that $5,000 of that money and moves it to a separate account, one that isn't connected to the main debit card. Jordan invests it. Jordan keeps loud budgeting as a personality trait, not just a temporary fix. When Jordan declines a dinner, it's not, I can't afford it this month. It's, this doesn't align with my goals. Jordan changed their identity, not just their spending. Statistically, Jordan wins because Jordan created a floor. Alex loses because Alex treated the savings as a ceiling to hit and then fall from. So how do you loud budget without crashing? How do you keep the money when the system wants it back? Here's the playbook. Number 1, the loud floor strategy. Don't just save to a number, save to a floor. Once you hit your safety net number, that money effectively vanishes. It doesn't exist for spending. It is the floor you stand on. You don't dig up the floorboards to buy a latte. Number 2, automate the no. The hardest part of loud budgeting is saying no to people. It's socially exhausting. So automate your savings. If the money leaves your paycheck before it hits your checking account, you don't have to use willpower to save it. You are broke because you paid your future self first. That is the ultimate loud budgeting flex. Number 3, be suspicious of rewards. When you hit a milestone, your brain will scream for a reward. The algorithm will show you ads for things you deserve. Recognize this for what it is, a trap. The reward for saving money is having money. The reward is freedom. The reward is your boss yelling at you and you realizing you don't have to be there if you don't want to. The real catch with loud budgeting isn't the social awkwardness. It isn't the eating beans part. The catch is that saving money is an act of rebellion. And the empire always strikes back. They want you to be quiet and swipe your card. They want you to feel shame for not spending. So keep being loud, keep being weird, but remember, the goal isn't just to stack cash for a month. The goal is to buy your freedom permanently. Protect your first $10,000 like it's the floor, not the finish line. Cheers.